Hello, Steve Mills here, and welcome to this week's podcast. Today I want to talk to you about something that I believe is probably the most fundamental part of growing your business, and that is increasing sales. We all know that there are two different ways of making more profit. One is to reduce costs and the other is to increase sales. And we know that we can reduce costs. We can reduce costs by 5%, by 10%, maybe by 20%. But the real leverage is on increasing sales. And today I've got three simple and yet highly effective things to talk to you about in terms of increasing sales. And number one, and really, I do not want you to think, oh, well, yeah, that's obvious, Steve, because it is obvious, but it's also very obvious to me that people don't carry this out. And that is, number one, my number one tip, if you want to make more sales, to grow your business, to make a better profit, to improve the quality of your life, to have everything that you dream of, speak to more people. Speak to more people. When I speak to salespeople and I say to them, so tell me, how many calls did you make yesterday? It's very rare I get a number. I get something like, well, I had this to do and I had that to do. And, there was this proposal and, I needed to do something else as well. And to be honest, I didn't keep a record. And if I did, if I really told you the truth, Steve, it wouldn't be very many at all. Now, I've been doing this for, the best part of 25 to 30 years now. And I can tell you that I have heard that so many times. Well, we can't get any leads, Steve. I'm not really, we're not making enough business. We want to get more business. And I said, well, how many people do you speak to each day? And they say, well, I get busy and I have to do this and I have to do that. So, number one tip really is to get over that. Let me just put it this way. However big your business is, let's just, for argument's sake, let's just say that you're currently speaking with 10 people per day. You're getting on the phone, you're going to meetings, you're, getting out there in the networking world, and you're speaking to 10 people a day. And let's say out of that, you have, 10 conversations. Let me be clear. I'm not talking about dialing 10 people. I'm talking about speaking to 10 people. So you talk to 10 people. Maybe you turn that into, let's say, 3 meetings, and you turn that into 1 sale. So you get 1 new sale per day. How do you double your business? Well, simply speak to 20 people. If you did nothing, 0, more than make more calls, then you'd probably double your business, wouldn't you? It's like, with email marketing. If you've got a database of 10,000 emails and that brings in 50 inquiries per month, if you doubled your database, then over time it would probably double the amount of inquiries you get. So this is really simple mathematics, and it works. So, number one is to speak to more people. Now, there's an added advantage in this, and that is this. It's like a secret benefit. And the benefit is, the more people you speak to, the better you get at it. The better you get at it. At first when you get on the phone, people go, well, I don't really like being on the phone. And I'm not very good at it, Steve. And, it just feels a bit awkward, I don't like, cold calling. I hate cold calling. Why do they hate cold calling? Because they're not very good at it. By the way, I don't believe in cold calling. I believe in lukewarm calling. In other words, cold people that to some level know me, like me and trust me. However, that's for another podcast. So, speak to more people, you get more sales. Speak to more people, you become better at getting more sales. So instead of, converting 3 out of 10 into meetings, you might get 4 out of 10 into meetings. And because you're making double your calls, you're calling 20 people instead of 10, that equals 8 instead of 3. So again, look at the maths. Number 2, the second thing I've got for you today is to be nice. I've said many, many times that people buy from people that they know, like and trust. Be nice. Now, the question is, how can you be nice? What could you do? Is it something to do with your tone of voice, do you think? Is it something to do with the way you are? Is it something to do with how you look? Is it something to do with your facial expressions? You know, there's so many things that you can do. If you learn, if you spend time developing yourself, there is no more important time that you could possibly spend. How good are you at being nice? That might be, wow, that's a bit of a weird thing. I don't know, Steve, I'm nice and that's it. No, it's not it. You can work on improving yourself. So, as I said, work on the way you look, your gestures, your tonality, your enthusiasm, your passion. Whatever it is, your skills, your personal, your interpersonal, the way you manage, the way you are. So be nice to people. Tip number 3, look after your customers. Look after your customers. Now, that doesn't mean have good customer service, because good customer service, certainly in this country, sucks. Yeah? We all see it all around. We see queues of people waiting to buy things. We see people in retail shops serving us, often not to the level that we would think would be reasonable. What I'm talking about here is raving fans. I'm talking about creating raving fans. And there's a fantastic book, by the way, called Raving Fans. It was written by Ken Blanchard, the author of the 1 Minute Manager, and I strongly recommend that you go and buy Raving Fans. I'm not on commission. You can buy it on Amazon. It's a little thin book. It'll take you about an hour to read it, and it could be something that transforms your business. Okay, so look after your customers. Look at your procedures. What actually happens when a customer walks in the door? And when I say walks in the door, it could be that they come into your shop or your business physically, or it could be that they, pick up the phone and call you, or it could be that they just send you an email. What happens from there? What's the first thing that happens? What's the second thing that happens? And after that, what happens? And after that, what happens? And after that, what happens? And when they've been a customer, what happens then? When they actually sign up and say, yes, I want to buy from you. What happens then? What happens after that? What happens after that? And so on and so forth. So what I'm suggesting here is that you take a good long look at everything to do with the way you look after your customers and, by the way, your prospects, and say, this is not good enough. This is not good enough. And I don't care how good it is. There's something in there. There's something that you could do better or differently that could set you apart from your competition. That's what we're looking for. We're looking to create that, oh wow, they do that? I've never been anywhere that does that. I think I mentioned on one of the former podcasts about going into K&H, the accountants. I walk up the stairs to the door. I open the door, and the first thing I see is a big sign on the wall that says, "Welcome, Steve Mills." Now, I've been in hundreds, probably thousands of offices, and that's the only one that's ever done that. Why? Because they set about answering the question, how could we be different? What could we do that's different to most other accountancy practices to make us stand out from the competition? And that was one of many things that they came out with. Now, I'm not here to talk to you about K&H accountants, as good as they are and were back then. What I'm here to talk to you about is to influence you in order to look at it in the same way that they did. So in other words, to think to yourself, what is our version of that? What could I do that's different? I remember going to a hotel, the Mermaid Hotel in Rye, in Sussex once, and I arrived, great hotel, beautiful place, 14th century, and when I went to go to bed, somebody had put a little mint on my cushion, on my pillow, on my bed. And I thought, again, it's never happened. Did it make any difference? No, but it did. It's never happened to me in any hotel ever other than the Mermaid Hotel. And it's an After 8 mint. Now, I don't know how much they cost, but what I do know is it's not very much. And what I do know is it was a little thing that stuck out in my mind and made me think that company care. They actually went the extra mile, or the extra inch actually, and made a big impression on me. So, there we have it. There's just 3 things. I appreciate, that's not going to solve all your sales problems, but number one in terms of, I think, probably the most important thing you can do to get more sales into your business is to speak to more people. Get out there networking, pick up that phone, get in meetings, get in front of people, attend events, go to exhibitions. You don't have to spend $30,000 on a stand. Just go there and speak to people. And when you do, be nice to them. And when you've got a customer, you've got a prospect, look after that customer like they're your best friend. Have business friends. And by the way, there's an added benefit to this. If you ask me, with all the technology, and I'm a real advocate of it, I love the technology that we've got these days in marketing. But if you ask me deep down, what is the best, what is the number one, what is the most powerful form of marketing, Steve, on the planet, I'd have to say, without a shadow of a doubt, it's still, and probably always will be, the power of referral or word of mouth. Now, if you can impress the heck out of people, I've just told hundreds of people on my podcast about the Mermaid Hotel in Rye, a hotel that I haven't visited now for, could be nearly 20 years. So 20 years ago, I remembered the After 8 mint. That just gives you some idea of the power of that. And to be honest, I've told that story to many, many people over the last 20 years. So, look after your customers, be nice to people, and speak to more people. That's the message. Go out there and take action, because if you're sat there listening to this podcast thinking, oh, well, that's really interesting, good point, Steve, and then you do nothing, guess what results you get for doing nothing? It's like being a member of the gym and never actually going there. And we all know people who do that. You've got to get yourself down the gym. You've got to take action in order to get results. So that's about it for today's podcast. As ever, if I can help you further, feel free to give me a call. If you want a results meeting with me, these are business meetings that I hold at our offices or online. It'll be my pleasure to host a one-to-one meeting with you. There's no charge, there's no obligation, there's no hard sales. It's about you and your business and me trying to help you. And then at the end, I just come up with a couple of solutions. Maybe, if it's right for you and right for us, ways in which we may be able to help you going forward. But that's about it. If you want to give me a call, you can get me on 01256 242 272. Visit our websites, theprudentmarketer.com or stevemills.co. Thank you very much for listening, and have an outstanding week.